All right, so yes, next up is Veronica Reynolds.
Well, thank you so much. So good morning, everybody. I'm Veronica Reynolds. I'm the head of community relations at the New City Library. And today I'm going to talk to you about some quick tips for creating YouTube videos. So the first thing you need to do is set up your space. You want to find a smallish space to film, mostly to eliminate echoes. Ideally, the space will be free of background noise, have a neutral background, not be near a window or other source of glare, large enough to fit your subject, any items required in the setup. So ideally what you're looking for is a closet in the basement, which probably most of us have somewhere in our buildings. But you also want to test that space with a short filming during different times of day. Natural light and your overhead light are going to create different looks and feel. So about lighting, you want to test a bunch of different lighting setups. Even if all you have is lamps and things that are around your building, scavenge those up and try different settings. What I have pictured is a foldable umbrella lights. They sell for about $70 on Amazon. You can find all different ranges of quality, and they give a very soft, flattering light for everybody. Or you can rig things up with what you've got around the house. I've done both. Ideally, though, your light should always be behind your camera. This allows the light to illuminate your face in a nice way and for the camera to pick it up easily. That's why ring lights are a very popular option. So you may have seen ring lights before. You can tell somebody is using a ring light in a YouTube video because you can actually see it reflected, usually in their pupil. And they're very popular, especially with beauty vloggers, because they give a nice soft light. Fluorescent bulbs. So these can be a big problem. Most of us work in institutional buildings that have fluorescent lights. I have them above me right now, and they flicker, which you can't see when you're just standing in the room. But when you go back to watch the video, you're going to see a light fluctuation. We had this happen when we set up our studio in our basement. We couldn't figure out what it was, and we realized if we turned off the fluorescent lights and just use our umbrella lights, that disappeared. So the flickering of the fluorescent lights was actually changing the whole color of our video from yellow to red. This is just another quick tip from what we picked up. When you're doing story time videos, choose books with matte pages when possible. I know it's most nice storybooks have a glossy page, but they cause a lot of glare. So what do you film with? Your phone is okay to use. The cameras on modern smartphones are excellent. They take really good video quality. And even your webcam is also a good choice. If it's what you have, use that. We were all at home when we started our YouTube channel. Nobody had wonderful high-grade cameras in their houses. We all used what we had, and the videos turned out pretty good. And you can just record with Zoom. Just start a Zoom meeting with just yourself and hit record. We did a lot of videos that way. And one of the things that Zoom has, a little hidden treasure, is if you go into your share settings and go to advanced, one of the advanced settings is a second camera. So if you want to create a crafting video where you have your face perhaps in a small window and then your hands also being filmed on a table below, you can have that 2-camera setup right through Zoom and just film it that way. No editing required. And that's been really useful. We've done our painting videos that way and several other crafting programs, which we've had very good results with. You can also record if you're on a Mac using something called Photo Booth, or if you have a Windows 10 computer, there is a camera app. From what I can tell, for some reason, Windows 7 skipped that, but there are recording apps out there that you could download on a Windows 7 computer as well. If you're only going to buy one thing for your new studio setup, get a tripod. Your hand is too shaky, and anything where you're propping up a phone against something, it can fall over. It's more subject to tiny vibrations. So you probably work in a building or even in your own home where you have an HVAC or an air conditioner. These like tiny vibrations, the eye picks them up on video. There are stabilization things you can do in editing software later, but they can create some odd effects. Tripods aren't very expensive. You can get an Amazon basic one, or if you don't like shopping at Amazon, B&H usually has some really good deals. They're very simple. They make them so they fit phones, and it's really a nice, easy way to keep a steady look and feel. Video files, whether they're on a phone or a camera, can get large, so consider some kind of storage system, whether you get a backup hard drive or a very thick USB stick, whatever is going to work for you, but definitely have a storage option. Sound, the other big component. Most webcams or phones actually have okay sound, but you have to test before starting your official filming. Mostly what you're checking for is echoes and tinniness. I tried to spell that word about 7 different ways, so I hope that one's right. But what you're looking for is a clear, consistent sound. If you're getting an echo, if you're getting tinniness, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there. And if someone's hearing bad sound quality, that might end their experience with the video. So it's really important that you check beforehand, record, and then play it back to yourself. I know it's hard to listen to your own voice, so maybe you can rope in a colleague or a loved one to listen to your files to make sure they're nice and clear. If you do decide to invest in a microphone, you want to get what's called a pop screen. You'll see that right here, this guy. And it cuts down on both the sounds of breathing, other little mouth noises you may not be aware of making, and sometimes when we pop our P's, that's one of the things it's catching, pop screen. You also want to test your sound setup with a short test film before doing a longer project. So don't just test the sound, do it with your film, make sure everything looks good. You also want to check for background noises that you can eliminate, such as ticking clocks or fans. One of our librarians who did beautiful videos had gotten so used to her cuckoo clock that she didn't realize it was ticking incessantly behind her videos. I was able to clean up most of it, but there is still a faint tick. So make sure there's no large reoccurring noises. Turn off fans. If you're in an air-conditioned environment, I'm sorry, you're probably going to be hot for while you're filming. But if you watch YouTubers, often they'll talk about the fact they're sweating because they've turned off their fan or AC. That kind of background noise can be very hard to edit out. If you're filming outside, which is great, film outside, just be prepared you're going to get wind noises no matter how still a day it is. That's where your tripod's even more important. If it's already windy or already quiet, wind's coming around, and then you're moving your recorder back and forth, it's going to be additional. So you really need your tripod when you're filming outside. When it's time for action, how do you actually film? I do recommend having a script of some kind. It does make your life a lot easier, and you can use your computer as a teleprompter. So you don't have to memorize what you're going to say necessarily. Because stopping and scrolling can make editing harder or make you seem less smooth, PowerPoint actually has an animation on their slides you can use called Scroll, and you can kind of make your own impromptu teleprompter that way, which I've used for several videos. If you're reading a book, read it through off camera at least once and find places that have tricky words or phrases and practice them. Anything that's got a lot of the same sound in a row, anything that rhymes, get your cadence down before you get yourself on camera, and you'll make your experience a lot quicker. Even if you do all that preparation, you're probably not going to get it in one take, and that's okay. But you don't have to throw out a whole take because you flubbed one word. That's where the editing comes in. So for easier editing, you can do 2 things when you're doing a take. If you want to film continuously, meaning you don't stop every time you make a mistake and then start again creating separate video files, which is a really solid way to do it, what you can do to do continuous filming is you keep filming after your mistake, but either be silent for a few seconds or clap your hands. What that does is create a spike or a flat line in your audio. So when you go in to edit it later, it's easier to see where those breaks are, and you can cut the clip there and restart with the correct take. Check my time. Okay, we're doing good. So editing software, what's out there? What can you use? I tried to come up with as many free options as I can. There's not a ton. But if you have access to an Apple computer, you can utilize iMovie, which is a very powerful and intuitive editor that comes pre-installed. That's what I've used for all of my videos. I was fortunate when lockdown came, I had my home computer, which had iMovie on it. Windows 10 also comes with Video Editor, which is a successor to Movie Maker, which I've had good success with. Again, I don't think it's on Windows 7. I'm sorry. There are also a lot of open source video editors out there, but a lot of them do come with hooks. So they may only let you edit but not save your work. They may only let you make 5 movies and then they won't work anymore. So be sure you read the fine print really carefully before you get into deep learning one of these softwares. If you're willing to spend a little bit of money, there is Adobe Creative Cloud has several programs that are involved with movie editing, starting with Premiere. I've used as well the Filmmaker Pro that's released by Apple, which is also very good, but those do require money. If you have access to LinkedIn Learning, our library has it as a database. I know some others do as well. There are a lot of really good classes on video editing in specific programs. But if not, YouTube is a great university for software usage. You can find a lot of people explaining how to use video editing on YouTube, probably pretty understandably. So editing sound. So I put up here what you can see. This is your sound bar. You can see my video has its own sound bar. I've added music in additionally. So you have to look at both of those for your levels. Most video editors have auto correction tools for audio. They'll also have tools to remove background noise. So I'm going to play you a few clips. The first one is very quiet because it is before it was edited. This is the original audio.
This audio was recorded without any editing and has some background noise.
This is the auto-corrected audio with the background sound removed. Oop.
This audio was edited with just a few buttons to increase sound, voice enhance, and reduce background noise.
So you can see how just with a quick edit, it got louder, there's less background noise, it's a clearer clip. I did lower the volume on some of these, so I apologize if it's a little hard to hear. I know you'll be getting the recording as well. One of the things I do love to do is add music to my videos because it changes the whole tone. So this is the audio with boosted music.
Just a few bars of a song can change the mood of your video.
A little bit of music just at the beginning, it doesn't have to go all the way through the video, although I like the sound of that too, changes how people feel. If you haven't listened to a movie without sound in a while, do yourself a favor and try it because the entire feeling of the movie is very different. Sound has a huge impression on how we perceive things, and a little bit of music is good. But I know that we all are asking, well, I'm not allowed to use a lot of music on YouTube. I'll get copyright flagged. YouTube itself has an audio library. When you're in your studio uploading videos, there's a left-hand bar, and one of the options is audio library. All that's in that audio library is DRM-free music. There's hundreds of songs, and you can even turn on a filter that says attribution not required, and then you don't even have to listen to attribution for those songs. Usually they're music that's either out of copyright or is just donated by musicians who want their music to be heard more. They're mostly instrumentals. Sorry. They're mostly instrumental only, and they can add a lot of flavor to your video. I use intro and outro music on every single one of our videos on our YouTube channel. Editing pictures. So much like sound, there is also an auto color and light balance in your video editor, and just using those makes a big difference. I will play with levels as I've gotten more advanced, but this is just with our automatic, with the automatic auto editor. So that's unedited, and that's with the editing on. So you can see I'm no longer pink. You can see my face much more clearly. My background has been eliminated for better or worse, but that's the example I like to use just because I think it's such a clear difference of losing all of that redness and making the background and my skin a lot clearer to see, more pleasant to look at, hopefully. This is also the stage where you're going to start editing out all those errors by splitting your clips. So a clip is your piece of video that you've taken. You can split it up and you can take out pieces of it as you're piecing them back together. This is also where you can add transitions. If you're splicing 2 clips together, they're probably not going to be seamless. Throw a crossfade in there, and what that will allow is it to not seem so jumpy. If you've watched a poorly pieced together piece of video, it'll seem like the presenter's like doing a this because we all move around while we talk, even if we don't realize it. So you want to make sure that those marry together nicely by putting in a crossfade or something to that effect. All right, so you have your video shot, you've edited it, now it needs a title. It can be really tempting to give it a clickbait title. What's clickbait, if you're not familiar? It's basically a lie that a YouTuber tells to get people to go into their video. Some of them are very famous, like "I'm sorry" is a very popular one, or "Can you believe I did this?" I think as libraries should be avoiding doing that. We want to stick to what the video actually contains and make it more searchable. We want to use keywords like concert or virtual story time so that someone visiting our channels for the first time can easily find the right video. I love using playlists. If you have a series, create a playlist with consistent titling, like Spooky Crafts, Painting Pumpkins. Spooky Crafts is the playlist title, Painting Pumpkins is that specific video. And when you're titling them, think about what will catch your intended audience. So I've put a little visual down here. Here is just some of our playlists. And you can see a lot of them are kid-oriented, but we do have electronic resources, which is a bunch of really great webinars that our Adult Services Department has put together, as well as themed story times, including learn about national parks. So this is actually one of my favorite parts of doing YouTube videos, is creating eye-catching thumbnails. The thumbnail is the first thing your audience sees of your video. If you don't upload one, then YouTube will automatically choose a still from the video to use, and you just have to hope it's a flattering one. I don't think it's worthwhile. You've worked hard on your video, give it a nice thumbnail. Canva has templates if you want to use a free resource. I have Adobe Creative Cloud, which comes with a website basically called Adobe Spark, and I use that to generate all our thumbnails, but Canva also makes beautiful ones. You want to use bright colors, very simplified images, clear fonts, because the thumbnail is going to be very small on your screen. So you want to keep the wording low. In fact, I think this bottom one, the reason I put it on here, I think it's too much and you can't read it. I prefer that kind of style where you're down to just a handful of words and a single image that's nicely positioned. Adobe Spark and the additional like Canva Plus have animators as well, so that you can kind of download short video footage essentially of your thumbnail so that it moves and is a little more dynamic. If you're looking for free photographs, by the way, that are DRM free, Pixabay and Pexel are both really good stock photography. That's free to use. So what do you do when it's actually time to upload to YouTube? So you do have to create a YouTube channel for your library if you haven't already. I cannot emphasize enough, do not use your personal email or your existing personal account. Use your library email, your work email, mostly so it's easier to share and pass on with other people in your workplace. You go into a different YouTube video site than you've ever seen before called YouTube Studio, which is a page for all video uploading, management, analytics. If I had another half hour, I'd tell you all about the back end of YouTube, which is really interesting. But after hitting create, you first have to do a bunch of other things. So you have to give it a title. I have set up a generic description that goes into every single one of our videos. You can type additional stuff into this, which I do, but I have all of our social media information set right in there. One of the important things to know about YouTube is they will not let you link out to other sites unless you have a certain kind of account. So you will see all of our links are listed out. This is also where you're going to upload your thumbnail and drag and drop your video. So the video goes in, you write your description, you add your thumbnail. This is extremely critical. Is this video for kids? YouTube has been hit very hard with some legal stuff. They've gotten very sensitive about videos that are aimed at children. You do have to be sure if it is at all aimed at kids, you say, yes, it's made for kids. It's better that you select that than they come along and decide your video is for children. So make sure you click into that. Just above, which got cut off, is also where you'll select what playlists it's going to go into. So I do have enough time. So when I talk about bringing it all together, you can do this. It's all doable. I have been editing videos now for a year. I've done about 600 videos, something in that range, but I didn't know really anything about movie editing last year. I'd used iMovie once to make a short thing for my child. So March 25th, after a week of noodling with iMovie, I made this.
Welcome to the New City Library. Our mission is to connect information, people, and ideas. During this difficult time, our doors are closed, but the New City Library staff is still working for you. We'll all be doing staff recommendations, book talks, and offering our digital recommendations. If you want to reach out, you can email us at one of these email addresses or leave a comment down below.
So it's not Shakespeare, but it got the job done. That was our welcome video. So when you create your YouTube studio page, you can actually select a welcome video for your channel that plays automatically the first time someone visits your page. And we had that up until we reopened to the public in June. So that's it. I can take some questions if you like. Okay, so Carolyn says, Southeastern members have access to Skillshare and Treehouse on Demand videos, and there's some cool editing classes there as well. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great resources out there for video editing. Basement closets is a film location. Love it. I guess a bunker could work great as well. I wonder if the Smithsonian will create a library videos display someday with all the stuff we've contributed to the film experience. They should. But yeah, I know it's silly, but we have these, it's the one time all our dank little gross spaces in a library really have a big utility. I should be on TV, thank you. You know, we get a lot of really great usage. Right now, our studio is actually our storytime room, which is the saddest room in our building. It's in a basement. It has 2 windows. But because of that, we can really control the lighting and the sound, which is great. And there's no other offices touching it. There is a bathroom, so you do have to be careful about that. Film away from the wall with the bathroom if you can. I don't know if I said it explicitly, but iMovie has just like a literal button you can click that says remove background noise, and that's a slider that you can increase actually. How long do you keep the videos on your homepage, like your story times? Okay, so that's kind of winds up actually being 2 questions. If it is material that we have permission to keep up, we keep it up forever. So I have some recorded library programs up there where I've recorded a Zoom and I edit out all the patron questions just so their privacy is protected. I usually have permission from those presenters that allow filming to keep them up indefinitely. With Storytime, we have an extremely intense set of Google Sheets where we have all the publishers' rights listed, and we make them private as required by the publishers. If those of you who aren't dealing with this right now, different publishers of children's material have different dates about how long it's okay to use their videos with their books. Some of them are way more draconian than others. So yeah, I have one of my coworkers keeps a great spreadsheet for me. And when the day comes, I just go through and mark them all as private. YouTube has a really good mass editor, so I can usually do it pretty quickly. So if you go onto our site, even though I've probably edited 650 videos, I think at this point, there's probably only 400 that are currently visible, and it'll be less come the end of June because a lot of them are going on there. YouTube is a for-profit, so are there costs involved here? There are no costs to you as far as uploading videos. The only cost is you won't make any money, but they will show ads on your videos, which is kind of a want thing. You really can't control for that. You can choose to monetize your channel if you get popular enough. Please let me know if you get popular enough. You need 4,000 watch hours and over 1,000 subscribers. We've been doing this for a year. We have about 300 subscribers and we have 1,000 watch hours, which I'm very proud of, but is nowhere near the monetization level. I do understand feeling conflicted that YouTube's for profit, but there aren't any really non-profit video hosting sites that are easy to get to your patrons. One of the interesting things about hosting your videos on YouTube is that YouTube will just start suggesting your videos to people, which you can see in the analytics panel. Like I said, I could do a whole different presentation on YouTube analytics, but they'll tell you how many times they've suggested your videos to people, which is really interesting because it's based on their whole mystery sauce algorithm. So people who you have no intention of reaching will get reached. My favorite quick story about that is one of our children's videos. A school in Korea is using it for their online curriculum to teach English to young children, which I know because I can see where the line direction is, and it's been viewed over 1,000 times only in Korea. So, you know, you take your wins. One of our librarians did a beautiful thing for April last year where she did a poem a day, which I edited and floated the words over. It was really, really nice. And one of her poems also got picked up by an online school. And all the comments on it are 14-year-olds complaining that they have to watch it for school. But it's got 1,000 hits, so.
That was great. I want to go redo my introduction now.
It's so much fun. I really love video editing, and I didn't do it before last year. So if I can tell you anything, it's go into it with joy and with playing, because there's so much to play with. You can like play with the colors and the lighting and the sound, and it's really a treat to produce something new and interesting, even if you don't put it on your YouTube, if you just put it on your website. You know, for National Library Week next year, you have a year. So
That's awesome. Thanks. All right, so I'm gonna also just drop the link for the evaluation and applause for Veronica.